Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are doing well. Today, we are going to talk about one of the questions related to the taxation UK syllabus. And this is a sample question available on the ACCA platform. And we are going to talk about the smart way to answer the question over here in order to score the maximum marks available over here. So, the question's name is the FIONA, and this scenario is relating to the five requirements. You should assume that today's date is 15th October. And now, Fiona has been self employed for many years and prepared accounts to 30th June each year. She has forecast that her taxable trading profits will be for the year ended 30th June 2024 as 45,200. Then, for the next 2 years, the profits have been forecasted at 63,800 and 93,200 over here. And then Fiona had total transition profits of 25,000, which arose in the tax year 23-24. Now, if you remember, from the theoretical area or from the syllabus, that what was the transition profits. Basically, transition profits normally arise because of the fact when there is a difference between the accounting year and the tax year. I mean, if you have an accounting year of 31st December and the tax year is ending on the 5th April, so obviously you will have a transitional profit balance over there. So this is the same over here, that from the year to 23-24, she had total transition profits of 25,000 over here. Now, the requirement is to calculate the Fiona's trading profits, which will be taxable in the tax year 24-25 and 25-26 over here. Now, we all know that for the sake of calculating the profit for 24-25 and 25-26, we just have to time portion the profits which are available to us over here. Like, for example, this is for the year ended 30th June 2024. Now, the tax year of 24 is going to start from the 5th April 24 and it's going to end on the 5th April 2025, right? So, from April till June, we have this area, and then the 9 months are going to be from here, and then for the next year, 3 months from here and 9 months from here, like this. For from 6th April till 30th June, we have the profit for the year of 45,200. We are going to take up the 3 months over here. And then for the next, we have the 9 months over here from the forecasted profit. So we'll have this 59,150 over here. As far as for the transition profits are concerned, we all are aware that we are going to simply divide it with 5 and we will have our chunk for the relevant year over here. So we will have our total of 64,150 over here. And then for the 25-26, we are going to have this 63,800 multiplied by 3 by 12 and then 93,200 for the third year that we have forecasted over here, and it will be a 9 by 12 over here. So the transition profits added again. So we will have this 90,850 over here, right? A simple straightforward calculation. This was a 3 mark calculation over here, relatively straightforward and easy to score the marks as well, right? Okay, so moving ahead from here, now we have the Emily, who is the Fiona's sister. And if you look over here, Fiona's sister Emily, who has also run her own business for a number of years. Her sales have always been exactly at 6,500 per month until the beginning of July, when she won a new contract over here. Now, from July 2024, her monthly sales have been 10,800 per month and will stay at this rate for the foreseeable future. Now, these sales are stated exclusive of VAT. Emily sales are all standard rated for VAT purposes. Now, the requirement is explain from what date Emily will be required to do compulsory registration for the value added tax and therefore have to charge the output VAT on her supplies. Now, we all know, as far as for the VAT is concerned, we have two options. I mean, as far as the registration is concerned. Either we can go for a voluntary registration or we can go for the compulsory one. I mean, the compulsory one everyone has to do, but as far as if your revenue is under the threshold, it's not above the limit or something, you have the choice to get yourself registered as a voluntary registration process. So, one thing is that it doesn't matter whatever the revenue you have, you can get yourself registered. Otherwise, if your revenue at any point of time within the 12 months on a roll on basis, if it reaches to 90,000 or above, it's a compulsory requirement, right? It's a must requirement that you have to get yourself registered for as far as the VAT is concerned. At the moment, if you look over here, before this July, she has exact amount of sales of 6,500 per month. So a total of 78,000 is over here. She is short of 12,000 over here, technically speaking, as far as breaching the limit is concerned. Now, from July, her sales have been 10,800, right? And will stay at this rate for the foreseeable future. So now her sales have gone to 10,800. So technically speaking, her sales have increased by 4,300 per month over here, right? Now, she was short of 12,000 and now her sales are increasing by 4,300 per month, right? So, how many more months will she need in order to breach this limit over here? So, that is 12,000 divided by 4,300. That's like around 2.79, or we can round it off to the 3 months. So, in July, if her sales are increasing, so she can have July, August, September, July, August, September. So she's gonna meet the limit or she's gonna breach the limit in the September over here, right? So the value added tax limit of 90,000 will have been exceeded at the end of September. July, August, September, simple, right? When the total taxable supplies for the year will amount to 90,000. That is, for the 9 months, it was 6,500, and then for the next 3 months, this is at 10,800 now. Because we go on the roll on basis, right? Now, Emily will have to be required to be registered from 1st November 2024 or from an agreed earlier date over here, right? Because technically speaking, the registration, it normally takes effect after a 1 month gap from the time when you have reached or breached the limit. I mean, for example, if you are reaching the limit on 30th September, if you are reaching the limit on 30th September, you have a 1 month grace period. 1 month is allowed by the HMRC to sort yourself out, sort your paperwork and all, and get yourself registered. 1 month time is being given to you. And then from the starting of the next month, you are or you have to be registered over there. So in September, if you are breaching the limit, October is the grace month. And then from 1st November, you will be considered as a registered for the VAT purposes over here, right? So therefore, maximum by the 30th October, Emily will have to notify the HMRC with the registration effective from the 1st November over here, right? So this is what the approach over here is going to be, right? Now, moving ahead from here, let's just talk about the Garth. Now, this is the Fiona's brother over here. Now, Fiona's brother Garth became self-employed on 1st October 2024. Okay. Garth has two full-time employees who are each paid in excess of employer's class 1 national insurance contribution threshold. He is therefore entitled to the annual employment allowance. The employees are paid monthly over here. Garth has correctly calculated the following amounts of the NICs in respect of the tax year 24-25. Class 1 employer contribution is 1364. Class 1 employee contribution is 1200 and class 4 is 1344. And then until 1st October 2024, Grath was employed. So before the 1st October, he was employed with all of his tax liability being calculated under the pay over here. So the first requirement is explain how and when Grath will have to report the details to HMRC of the NIC due in respect of his employees earning during the 24-25 over here. Now, as far as the intimation to the HMRC is concerned, this is simultaneously done because the class 1 national insurance contribution due in respect of the employee earnings are reported to HMRC as a part of the pay real-time system, real-time processing system, right? Or the reporting system it's done. I mean, on a real time, you are informing the HMRC. So the payroll information must be reported electronically each month on or before the time when the employees are paid, right? So the detail of the employees straight away done, right? Then the next requirement was state when Grath will have to pay the class 4 NIC due in respect of his self employment for the tax year 24-25 over here. Now, as far as for his self employment, the Grath is concerned, the Grath is going to pay his class 4 national insurance contribution as a part of a balancing payment due on 31st January 2026. When he's going to do the balancing amounts and all, he's going to pay at that time. Because technically, the issue is before the self employment, he was employed, right? So the payments for the 24-25, these are not required because Grath's income tax liability payments was collected under the pay, right? They were collected under the pay at the time he was employed, right? So for the class 4, these have to be paid when they are going to fall due on 31st January 2026 over here, right? And then the third requirement over here is explain to what extent Grath will be able to benefit from the NIC's annual employment allowance for the tax year 24-25 over here. Now, if we talk about this one, the annual employment allowance, this is simple that the annual employment threshold is 5,000, right? Because the annual employment allowance of 5,000 can only be reduced to can only be used to reduce the amount of the employer's class 1 NIC payable to the HMRC. So technically over here, the benefit will be of the 1362 over here. Why 1362? Because if we go back to the question, look over here, let me show you this class 1 employer contribution. So the employer contribution is 1362 over here. So for this 1362, he will be having a benefit of this amount because up to 5,000 this is allowed to you. So this is 1362 which he had paid under as an employer. From this amount or for this amount he can get a benefit out, right? So this was the question that we had over here. Simple straightforward question of 10 marks. And you must have observed that we went straight away exactly point to point, right? There's no point of explaining or going into the further discussion or the explanations. Just stick to what is being asked and straight away answer the question, right? And if you do so, by this you will not be able to save the time, but also you will be able to score the maximum marks. So I'm going to meet you again with another question at some time and some other movie. Till then, take care of yourself and have a good day. Take care. Bye bye.